welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our comic for today is Demon 2nd Series, Issue 3 by DC. Now, there is demons, magic, and a ritual in this one, so if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Alright, here's the team. So, when we left off Jason Blood in issue 2, he has just, turned back to himself after Belial's servants have kidnapped Glenda, after Etrigan defeated one of them. So, and Etrigan left Jason a message on who has her. So that's what happened in the last one. So we begin issue 3 as always with our narrator talking to Merlin. I don't know if it's right that I'm calling him narrator, but I guess it kind of is, because it seems like he narrates the story. And after reading this issue, it just supports my belief that this has already happened, and this is just this narrator telling Merlin about it again. At least so it seems. Well, as always, the narrator talks to Merlin, and I always kind of quickly forget what they were talking about. As in this one, that he can, that he can emotionally understand the state, or, what is it? Closer they got to the secrets that you had so dearly bidden, Jason's mind to never consider, the closer your brother was to being free of you. Yeah, basically he talks to him. As he does, we see Jason, looking through the hotel room, then leaving the hotel room, and flying back to Gotham. He was in, where were they there? They were in Britain. So he flies back to Gotham, and he goes to see Harry Matthews, one of his handful of friends, as our narrator tells us. Poor old Harry. He's the one that's been turned into a pillow. Poor bastard. But anyway, here he is still human. Jason goes to see him. He needs his help. Now, it's been 2 days, the current time, since Glenda's been kidnapped by Belial. Or taken, I should say. And he needs the help to bring Belial and learn the secrets and also get Glenda back. So he goes to see Harry. Harry's works as it's something to do with business, I forgot. But he has an important role. He gets paid $150,000 a year. So he's quite a wealthy guy. Yeah, Jason knocks on his apartment. He obviously looks terrible. He hasn't shaved. Harry lets him in. And the narrator, says how very dependable Harry is. Even though, unlike Jason's other few friends, he doesn't have really much dealings with all this magic. So Jason tells Harry what has happened. And he tells him that he needs his help here. Harry helps him sit down, and then helps Jason sit down, and he lights up a cigar. That's actually how they started talking. They were talking about their favorite cigar brands. So anyway, what Jason needs he needs to perform a ritual to summon Belial. Now, Belial is no Etrigan. He needs a very powerful circle to keep him at bay. So he needs Harry to hire a space for him, a warehouse, so he can draw the circle, the giant fucking circle, in order to keep Belial at bay. And also, Jason before that also told him that the reason Glenda was at his apartment was to take the Philosopher's Stone, which used to belong to Merlin. And then he tells him that Glenda's been taken by Belial. Well, anyway, So that they go and do it. Harry hires the facility, a warehouse on the port somewhere there, and spends a few days of currently Harry's vacation, it would seem, together with Jason in said warehouse, as Jason draws the circle. He sleeps very little and doesn't talk as he does it. And he also orders like 12 cages of pigeons in order to have a sacrifice for Belial. So he asks Harry to take the delivery. And so everything is ready, and even at the best of times, Jason isn't sure he could have done it so well, because Belial is a very strong demon. He's a duke of the lower pits, as Jason tells Harry. And so he's going to use the Philosopher's Stone in order to try to hold him. So he wakes up Harry after he finishes, drawing all this, and tells him, Harry, I need you to leave now. And Harry's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying with you to see this. The narrator comments on, how sweet it is. This whole thing, and how very dependable Harry is. He already knows what's going to happen, which is, again, confirms my belief that this has already happened, and we're just being told everything. So, the ceremony begins, or the summoning begins. Jason stands in front of the circle. Harry goes again to the sidelines of the warehouse to be far away. I suppose, it is a warehouse. And so he begins, and Belial is summoned. And he's a big demon. Like, not huge, but he's big. He's bigger than Etrigan. And he's fat. So Belial is summoned, and he is most definitely Etrigan's father. I mean, holy shit, the resemblance is uncanny. Except the size and the gut. But yes, he is summoned, and of course Jason starts asking him questions, but demons just don't talk like that, so he has to throw him a pigeon. And so many pigeons later, as he keeps asking him and the narrator keeps talking about Belial, we learn the truth the truth has been hidden from Jason, that Etrigan is one of Belial's first children with a snake, was it? I don't think I understood that part. It seems a snake birthed Etrigan. Maybe? I'm not sure. But anyway, he's been born, and he's been terrifying hell in those times back then. Maybe he wasn't as powerful as his father, but he was certainly close. And everyone was terrified of Etrigan. And they've urged his father Belial to birth essentially another offspring that could control Etrigan. And actually one of Belial's lovers was a witch that made a prophecy about Etrigan, or told a prophecy. And so Belial has fathered another child, with, I assume, some witch, either the one that said the prophecy or someone else. And Merlin was born. Now, because he is part human, he could control Etrigan. And actually, when he was conceived, so from Belial was created the Philosopher's Stone. So it's kind of, Jason says, sympathetic magic. And so, so now we know the truth. Etrigan's Belial's son, so is Merlin. And Merlin has Etrigan for his servant. Now, of course, the next matter of things here, order of things, is Glenda. Jason wants Belial to give back Glenda. And Belial starts laughing, saying, I see the kinks in your net. You don't have enough blood for this. You don't have enough pigeons. Because in order for him to get Glenda back, he needed far more blood than what he has. And then it sort of seems like either Harry decides to sacrifice himself, or Belial, sees him there and wants to draw him closer and take him. And maybe Harry just understands that this is unavoidable, that Belial already has him, and he tells to Jason to hang on in there. And then Harry is just pulled into the circle and taken. And then there's a lot of fire. Harry's soul and body is taken. And after the fire disperses, we see Glenda, her dress ripped, and a poor thing. And then our narrator tells us, now Jason must be feeling now numb, because he knows what it's like to have your soul beaten. Because it's not just that Harry's body has been taken. Now his soul belongs to Belial as well, which is even worse. And then poor Harry has been skinned and turned into a sitting cushion. Ugh. Imagine having a big-ass demon sit on you with his ass for eternity. Terrible. Just terrible. And that's it. That's poor old Harry. And of course, Jason is numb from all this. But then it seems like he's about to turn into Etrigan. He goes into the circle, picks up Glenda, then gives her some water or whatever it is he and Harry had in their thermoses. And then he goes into the circle. And then our narrator comments on Glenda, how, although she wasn't in the, in the most lower levels of Belial's, where he is in hell, she still seems to be in fairly good shape. Like, many would have just lost themselves from what she probably had to endure, because she was there for 5 days. It took Jason, 3 days to draw this massive circle and make all the preparations. So she was in hell for 5 straight days. But still, I'm not saying she's 100% okay, but she seems in fairly good shape for someone like that. And our narrator comments on that and says that, she seems to be a natural, although Merlin as well, but Merlin has the heritage and the advantages, but she does not. So yeah, because Jason goes into the circle. Now, this circle's gonna cause a lot of pain to Etrigan, because, again, he's not as powerful as his father, as our narrator mentions again. And so Jason turns into Etrigan, and Etrigan, while suffering immense pain, tells Glenda what it is that they must do. At this point, our narrator comments on how she's actually listening and paying attention. And, not just sitting there rocking back and forth. So he says that some song needs to be played in order to entrance Merlin. And once he is entranced, he will no longer, once he is entranced, his hold on Etrigan and Jason will be loosened, and that's when they can strike. But the song must be played, and if the song suddenly stops, then so will Merlin be released from the trance he's in. So they must go to this place, I think, in Britain and do it. That's where it must be played. And that's it. Glenda wants to ask a question, but Etrigan can't hold it in anymore, and he leaves. You see even on the cover, he's holding himself because he's in so much pain. So he disappears, and we get Jason Blood back. Glenda gets up and helps him up. They go to the edges of the warehouse. She gives him some drink, and he asks her, what has he said? And she repeats to him what Etrigan has told her about this song and what is needed. I love how he's not even asking, are you okay? Do you need a shrink? But, I guess at this point she's quite into the business. So that's what they need to do, and so she's like, what now? Well, now I'm gonna go and do this. Also, before that, he tells her that he's not the one that summoned Etrigan. Etrigan caused the summoning. That's how badly he wants to be free from, from Jason and being Merlin's servant. So that's it. He says, well, now we're gonna go, and I really pray that you'll be with me on this. And then Jason gets up and goes to the doors, opens them, and says, because I think, again, he says, I think Etrigan wants this as much as I do. And then our narrator says, oh no, little man, he wants this much, much more than you do. Much more. And that's the last kind of panel. We see Etrigan standing, hugging himself. And that's it. That's where the issue ends. The first cover, I like Etrigan in the circle here. You see? Again, they all have the circular cover. But here he's holding himself covered with his cape. He's very much in immense pain. Okay, now for the inside art, I'll show you a couple of pages. You see there's Merlin in there, his nostrils. There's Jason returning to Gotham. This is Harry here. With Jason coming to see him. Okay, 1 second. Here. There he is, in the robe. Like I said, I really like this art style a lot. Let me just make sure I told you correctly about that last image. One sec. Okay, yeah. And then it's like Etrigan holding himself and says to be concluded. So, that's it. That's the art, I mean. Oh, now for the story. Well, it's progressing, that's it. Last issue awaits me. I can't wait to see how this concludes. Do they get Merlin? I mean, I imagine they do, if he's wherever he is trapped. But the question is, does Jason, Blood, and Etrigan finally get to be free of each other? Are they finally released? Does Etrigan leave? Who has trapped Merlin, and who is our narrator? I mean, I imagine we must find out next issue already, because it's the last one. I'm dying to find out who, what was done to Merlin. Who was it? Etrigan that trapped him wherever he is? I'm just dying to find out. I think this is going to be awesome. And yeah, the story's very intriguing. Has good pacing as well. With how we move on to discovering its mystery. Now, of course, this is something to read if you know a bit about Etrigan. Because I think you just picked this up. You're like, wait, what? Who? Where? But I do wonder where most of this took place, because it seems like it wasn't here. But I don't know if it took place in that first series by Mr. Kirby, because Mr. Kirby created Etrigan. So that is left to be seen, I suppose. But I'm definitely excited. Sorry, that's my cellular. I'm definitely excited to see how this concludes. I've really been immensely enjoying this mini-series. I was wish it was a little longer, but I guess they wanted to focus on this one story. Because I have quite a few issues of the third series. But that one, I don't know if Jason and Etrigan are still entwined together. Maybe they are. Because we meet Harry in that series again as a cushion, poor bastard. But I wonder if they are free of each other. Well, as left to be seen in issue 4. Alright, folks, let me know what you thought of issue 3 of the second Demon series. And that is it. Remember, collect what you're passionate about and share it on YouTube. Bye! you.